Next question, seems like you are always paying for stuff for your boyfriend. Does he ever pay for stuff for you? And I'm like, I don't deserve to go on this vacation. I don't earn enough money. I this, I that, I blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't matter what kind of car he drives. I'm not gonna say, oh, you drive this car, so like you have to buy me the Chipotle all the time. I'll never buy it for you. Relationship is about like love and friendship and support, and not just like buying each other stuff or getting the most that you can out of a person. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video, which is going to be a juicy personal finance Q&A. It has been so long since we've done a Q&A, and every time I do them, I have so much fun filming them. I feel like you guys love them, and I always say I'm gonna do them more often, and then I just forget. So let me know, you guys, how often you would like to see Q&As, whether they are just general life Q&As or personal finance Q&As like this one. But I'm so excited. You guys gave me some really good questions, and as usual, we're gonna go like no filter on these questions. I love just being super honest in my Q&As. So let's get into it. Q&As are some of my favorite videos to watch from other YouTubers, even YouTubers that like I don't even know. Like I'll learn about new YouTubers through their Q&As. I just think they're so interesting. And I love when people talk about their personal finances, their money in Q&As. So I wanted to do one that was 100% money-based. We've done this once before on my channel. I'll grab the link and link the other one down below. And I'll link some of my other Q&As below. I think I made a playlist with all of them. So if you're in like a Q&A or like get to know me mood, you guys can binge that playlist. If you are new, please subscribe, and whether or not you're new, please I always mess that part up. Please give this video a thumbs up because it really supports my channel. Today we are drinking a grapefruit spritz. It's like a mocktail. It's super good. So grab a little drink or a snack and let's hang out and answer some questions together. You guys gave me some really, really good questions for this video, and a lot of them are about my boyfriend and my relationship and how we split finances together. So I totally understand the curiosity there. So I hope that I will satiate your curiosity. I want to start out with a juicy question, then we will back it up a little bit and answer some basics, and then we'll spend the rest of the video talking about my boyfriend because that is what everyone wants to know about. Okay, so the first question I wanted to start off this video with is the following. I love your content and how realistic and relatable your finance videos are. Your boyfriend seems to be living a bougie lifestyle, bought a condo, drives a nice car, etc. Do you feel pressure to be at the same financial level as him? If not, any tips not to compare ourselves to the people in our entourage? So this is such a good question, and I wanted to answer it first because I feel like it's just gonna set the tone for the rest of the video. In case anyone's new, it's gonna help you get to know me. So let's dive in. First things first, let's talk about, do I compare myself to my boyfriend? The answer is that I used to. I've known him for actually many years before we started dating. We went to school together, and then we actually had the same job for a little while. He was above me because he's a couple years older than me. And then we started dating. And one of the things that I didn't know about him before dating him was how, like, this is gonna sound so weird, but like how really smart JS is. He's a really, really smart guy, and he's very, very hardworking. He's very strategic with his career. And I didn't know that just from like our kind of surface level friendship. So he started working during university. He worked full-time while studying full-time. And what this did was give him a real leg up in his career so that by the time he graduated, and then by the time he is at the age that he is now, he's much farther along in his career than a regular, whatever that means, person of his age. So he's quite far along in his career, which I didn't fully, like, I didn't connect the dots of all of this until we started dating and he kind of explained his career path like in detail to me. So we did have the same job for a little while. He was, I think, one level above me. We worked at the same consulting firm, which was like my very first job. So I was I forget what my title was. let's say like I was like a junior associate, or I was associate, he was like senior associate. It was something like that. So he was one level above me. So in my mind, we made a similar salary, but he made more than me because he was ahead of me career-wise because he was older than me. He'd since changed jobs, and we weren't dating when we worked together. So he's since changed jobs, and this is like so tricky to talk about because it's his information, it's his salary and stuff, not mine. All this to say, his strategy and his intelligence got him to a certain place career-wise that I used to compare myself to when I was on the corporate track. When I was on the corporate track, I was like, he makes more money than me. He has this better job than me. He's in the finance industry and I was not in that industry. So I compared myself to him in the sense that I felt like I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't ambitious enough, and I wasn't in the right industry, and that I should be smarter and I should be more ambitious and I should be in a different industry. Luckily, I stopped comparing myself to him pretty quickly when he explained his career path to me and why he's at the certain level that he is, and therefore why he makes a certain salary that he makes. And then it just kind of made sense. I think we can cut our comparison when we understand the why behind it. And a really common example is when I think about developers or like software engineers, that is a field which makes so much money. And you could beat yourself up all day that you're not a software engineer, but it's like at the end of the day, you don't have that profession. So you can't compare yourself to people who have that profession because that's just not you. Another one is like tech sales. I know people in tech sales who make great money, and you can sit around all day and say, I should be in tech sales, I should be in tech sales, or I should make as much as them, but you're not comparing apples to apples. You know what I mean? You guys comment this all the time on my videos, but comparison is the theft of joy, and financially, like career-wise, it's so true. If we are always looking at what others are doing, it steals the joy from ourselves. For me, I find the hardest thing, the thing that I compare myself the most to and the hardest thing to stop is people who are in a similar area to me. So I learned quite quickly that I can't compare myself to my boyfriend because we're not at the same level in our career and we're not in the same industry. I can't compare myself to people who are in tech sales, and I can't compare myself to software engineers. Especially now that I'm a freelancer, I can't compare myself to most of my friends. Like most people I cannot compare myself to. What I struggle with now is comparing myself to other YouTubers who are of a similar size than me, or other copywriters who I see their weird ads online of like, make $10,000 a month. That's what I compare myself to. So I don't really have tips for stopping comparing yourself to people who are similar to you because that is something that I'm still struggling with. But at least my tip for people who are comparing yourself to people who are different than you or who are farther along than you is like, understand their path and understand that that is not your path. And just knowing the difference, I think sometimes is enough to cut that comparison. I can give another example. When I worked, again, it was at this first consulting job, I worked with a lot of people who were already purchasing condos. They had their first job, they just graduated university, and they were looking at purchasing a condo. I still had so much student debt, like there was no way I'd be thinking about purchasing a condo, but these people were. And this is because their parents paid for their school, and a lot of them, there was two I think, that their parents were helping them pay for the down payment on their condo. So how can I compare myself to them when my parents did not pay for all of my school and my parents are not giving me the money for a down payment, right? We just can't compare ourselves. So I hope that's helpful. And I hope that sets the tone for this video in a good way. Okay, next question. This is a good one. How much money have you lost from your investments? So we probably all know this, the market is quite down right now. So I think that's what this question is referring to, is how down are my investments. They are extremely down, you guys. I won't go through all of them like one by one, but I can tell you my crypto, I don't have very much, like very, very little crypto, is down 54%. So that's big. I lost, I think, around $200. So I put in like 400 or 500 and I'm down 50%. My investments in funds are down 10%. So in total, I'm losing about $2,000 there. And my other stock investments. In total, the portfolio is down 19%, but I don't remember the exact amount that is. So I am losing a lot of money, but I trust the cycles of the market and I trust that it will go back up. I'm not too freaked out about it. On the subject of investments, you mentioned in your mid-year reset that active trading was no longer a realistic goal for you right now. Would you ever reconsider this? And if so, what would you need to feel confident about reinstating it as a goal? Great question. To me, I see active trading as a bit of a gamble. It's kind of like going to the casino and putting money into the casino. I would say how would you say this? Uneducated active trading is kind of like putting money into the slot machine, where it's really just a straight gamble. You just don't know. Maybe it's gonna have better odds than a slot machine, which like always takes all of my money. And then I would say like the more educated you are about your trades, maybe that's like moving over to like blackjack or a game that requires a bit more skill. I don't know much about the casino, to be fully honest with you guys, but so what would it take for me to be more into active trading? Similar to what would it take for me to put more money down at the casino? The answer is that it would take more money. Once I have a higher disposable income, I would love to play around with money a little bit more. Not so much by just going to the casino, but I would like to experiment with active trading just because I think it's interesting. It's something that does interest me, definitely more than playing blackjack. But when I am already stressed about money, when my income is fluctuating the way it is, when I am considering dipping into my savings to help pay for my rent, for me, that's just not the time to get into active trading. I'm not looking for a get-rich-quick scheme or anything like that. For me, active trading would be about learning, and I would do so with any extra disposable income that I have. What is your savings goal dollar amount, and how much of it have you already saved? So my biggest savings goal at the moment, my most like prominent one, is saving for my emergency fund. My goal is $10,000 and I currently have about $5,000 saved up. Okay, now let's get into the relationship questions. So first question, how do you balance spending between you and your boyfriend in your relationship, especially if one person makes a lot more money than the other? So, great question. We balance it in probably a weird way where we don't split the cost of things, pretty much never. If we buy airline tickets, we'll each pay for our own. So that's when we'll split something. But if we go to the restaurant and it's just the two of us, either he will pay for the whole bill or I will pay for the whole bill. That's just how we do it. It's how, I don't know, how we like to do it. And to be honest, like seeing as he makes more money than I do, he usually picks up the more expensive bills. So when we go to Tacos Victor and the bill is very cheap, I will often pay. And if we were to go for like a nicer dinner, he would pick up the bill. In the beginning of our relationship, we went out on a lot of really nice dinners, and it was super fun, and it felt so nice for me to like be treated that way, like, you know, treated like on a date. And since he bought a condo, we have scaled back, and that's totally okay. Like I see those dinner dates as like a gift. Like I see it as like him giving me a gift, and I don't feel entitled to anything like that. I don't feel like I need anything like that. I don't feel like that is the point of our relationship. It's like a nice perk. So since he bought a condo and he's kind of tightened the belt on his spending, we haven't been going out to as fancy of restaurants, which is totally fine. In which case it's the same thing though. Like we will still, he'll pay for the bill, I'll pay for the bill, and we don't keep track. We don't, let's say like, oh, I got it this time, you get it next time, or, you know, nothing like that. We're pretty go with the flow. That being said, we don't live together. We don't have any shared expenses. So really the only things that we're balancing with each other financially is like when we go out for food or coffee or anything like that. This is something that I wanted to say and I get questions about a lot. And just as we move forward in this video and we talk about, you know, how I do things in my relationship. I just want you guys to remember that there's no right or wrong way. Every single relationship is different, and you just need to figure out what works with you and your partner. There's so many strange dynamics, and there's so many strange preconceived notions about like gender roles in a relationship, and things like that. And I get comments all the time of like, your boyfriend should pay for more for you, or like, just crazy stuff like that. And at the end of the day, we do what works for us. He is so generous with me. Like I said, like those dinners, and at Christmas, like he got me really nice gifts. And I'm so grateful for it. But it's also like, that's not just the point of a relationship. Like relationship is about like love and friendship and support, and not just like buying each other stuff or getting the most that you can out of a person. So yeah, those comments kind of bother me, because it's like, there's so many things that he does for me that you guys don't see. And not the comments, like the questions or whatever, but sometimes I'll get comments that are like, I can't believe you paid for him for this, or like, I can't believe like he didn't pay for your whole vacation for you. And it's like, I don't expect him to pay for my vacation. That's crazy. Like I still work, I still have a job, like I still want to pay for myself. And like, I do value my own independence, especially my financial independence. I think it's so important that girls and women, and everyone too, like men too, it doesn't matter like if you're in a heterosexual or homosexual or whatever relationship, you have to take care of yourself at the end of the day. If your partner were to leave you, you want to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. And that's what's important. That being said, personally, if I was in a relationship with someone who makes more money than I do, which I am, if I was paying for everything, or if we had to split everything 50-50, that would just be like very ouch, I think. It would be like ouch on my wallet, because it's like, oftentimes the person who makes more money is gonna wanna go to a little bit of a fancier restaurant, or, you know, they're gonna wanna go on like a fancier vacation, maybe stay in a nicer hotel. And if you had to split all of that exactly 50-50, well, it's not really fair on the person who's making less money. So that's really where it comes down to like having that conversation in your relationship. Is it like, okay, we're gonna downgrade to accommodate what fits the lower earning person's 50-50? Is the person who makes a little bit more gonna compensate? You know, how do you guys meet in the middle? That's just like up to every individual. And I think he pays for a little bit more because he earns more than me. But I also think that one day, like one day when I'm making more money and stuff, like I want to repay him too. It's not just because he's a guy that I want that he pays for stuff for me. It's not about that. Okay, so similar question. Why do you pay for JS when he drives a Porsche? Crying face emoji. So the thing that he always says as a joke whenever people say things like this, and like they'll say it to him in person too, is like, oh my God, like you drive a Porsche, you must be rich. And he's like, actually I'm broke because I spent all my money on this car. So that makes me laugh. But it is true, not that he's broke, but that he has found a way to budget this car into his life because he doesn't have kids, because he doesn't really have any crazy responsibilities. He's found a way to budget this car into his life. But why do I pay for stuff for him? Like, why do I buy him Chipotle once in a while? Because I can, and because I think I should. And it doesn't matter what kind of car he drives. I'm not gonna say, oh, you drive this car, so like you have to buy me the Chipotle all the time. I'll never buy it for you. It's just like, even if I thought about this, because when I saw this question and just the whole thinking in general of relationships was like, even if I was dating Elon Musk, like billionaire Elon Musk, I would still want to pay for coffee once in a while. I wouldn't feel comfortable being in a relationship and never, ever, ever paying for anything, even with like a billionaire. You know what I mean? Next question, seems like you are always paying for stuff for your boyfriend. Does he ever pay for stuff for you? So I think the reason that it comes across that I'm always paying for stuff for him is because in my monthly monies, I will mention, oh, I bought coffee for the two of us. I bought dinner for the two of us. But you guys don't see all of the times that he bought coffee for us or that he bought dinner for us because I'm reciting my spending, not his. So for every time I buy him a coffee or dinner or anything like that, he has probably bought me 1 or 2 coffees 1 or 2 times out for dinner. Like I said previously, like he definitely is super generous with me. And And so yes, he does buy me stuff. Next question. This is a question I get asked very frequently. Have you and JS considered moving in together to save money or talked about it at all? I know every relationship is different, so I was just wondering if this was something that was on the table. Great question. Sometimes I think about this and like, I think, oh my gosh, if we could just move in with each other, I would save so much money. It'd be so great. But at the end of the day, I don't want to move in with someone just to save money. I want to move in with them because that is the step we're ready to take in our relationship, because we're in love, because we want to have a home together. That's why I want to move in with someone, not just to save money. The other fact is that JS and I have only been dating for about a year now. As you're watching this video, or as I'm filming this video, we've only been dating for 1 year. And for me, that's just too soon to move in with each other. We live close by, we're together all the time, but I don't know, I just see moving in together as a huge commitment. To me, moving in together means you are going to get married, you're going to get engaged, and you're gonna get married. Maybe that's kind of traditional of me, but I see myself moving in. I only see myself moving in with a partner when it's going to be the person that I marry. And it's not to say that I don't see myself marrying JS. It's just like, we're not there yet in our relationship. We've only been dating for 1 year. I see us moving in together maybe in a year from now. That's what I see, but we never know. Editing Zoey here. I just wanted to explain a little bit why I have such strong opinions on this subject, because I know most people probably don't agree with me and most people don't want to live their life that way, and that's totally okay. The reason I'm like that is not because I'm a super traditional person or because of religion. There's two main reasons, and I wanted to give them to you guys so you can understand a little bit more why I'm like that. The first reason is that I have been traumatized by stories of couples who move in together, fill their home with beautiful, expensive furniture, and then later on realize down the line that one of them doesn't want kids, one of them doesn't want marriage, that they don't want the same thing in life. And then you've built this home together and you've spent all this money on furniture and you've pooled your resources, only to have to make your breakup even harder by separating all of that. So that really traumatized me. So that's one reason. The second reason, which is a little bit more realistic and probably a more positive reason why I feel this way, is that this time of my life, being young, unmarried, no kids, living by myself, is not going to last forever. And I know that down the line and later on in my life, I am going to look back fondly on, remember when I lived in Montreal and I had that cool loft apartment and I lived by myself? I know that I'm going to look back so fondly on these times. The freedom that I have by living alone, the ability to have a night alone, have a night with my boyfriend, have a sleepover with my best friend, do exactly whatever I want. I know that my life is not going to look like that forever. So I'm not in a rush to jump to the next stage by living with someone, because the rest of my life is not going to look like that. The majority of my life, I know, at least I hope, is going to be with marriage and a family. So I don't see any need to rush through this like young living alone stage in my life. So that's why I'm kind of like that. And why I'm like, yeah, until I'm ready to settle down and really have a commitment with someone and know that we're both on the same page, I don't feel the need to move in with them. So hope that maybe answers some of your questions, let you guys in a little bit on the inside of my brain. And I'm not saying that I'm waiting until there's literally a ring on my finger before moving in with someone. I just want to know that we're both on the same page as it comes to like, what kind of future do we want together before we buy a $20,000 couch, which I would never do, but I've been traumatized, you guys. I think the other thing that plays a role in this is the fact that I make videos and that we both work from home makes it harder to live in a smaller space together, because I'm always filming and he's always on the phone for work, that we would need a big space to be able to accommodate each other's working schedules and be able to like work in peace. Which his apartment doesn't accommodate and neither does mine. So it only makes sense right now too, working wise, that we live separately and we each work in our own homes and then we spend a lot of our time together. So that is all of the questions about JS. I hope that that satisfied some of your curiosity. The last question that I am going to answer is this one. Hey Zoe, do you have anything that you've bought and felt bad about sometime after, but eventually decided it was a good investment or purchase? I bought a new car last year and traded in my old one that I was just about to pay off. I still have 5 more years to pay off the new one. I felt guilty for months until the most horrible winter happened and my 4-wheel drive SUV was the only reason I was able to get to work most days. My old car could have never. This is such a good question, and I thought about it. I don't think I have any material thing that I bought and felt bad about and then later on decided was a good idea. At least none that I can think of. Maybe like my Nespresso machine, but the answer that came to my mind first and foremost was travel. Travel is often something that I will feel really guilty about while I'm booking it or while I'm getting ready to pay for it, when I'm paying the dog sitter. I will feel so guilty about travel, but then looking back, you realize that those are such special moments in your life, and those are the moments that break up the day-to-day and break up the mundane and really create those lasting memories that when you look back on your life, those are the things that will warm your heart and make you feel so happy. So I don't regret a single trip I've ever been on. I don't remember how much I've paid for those trips. I don't dwell on it. I don't think about it. So I think travel has been one of those expenses for me that feels ouch and feels bad. And all the way leading up to it, I'm like, I don't deserve to go on this vacation. I don't earn enough money. I this, I that, I blah, 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 blah. But then you go and you come back and you're just like, wow, I'm so glad I did that. So that's my answer to that. And you guys, that's a wrap on this Q&A. I normally make them super long, but we only had a couple of questions for this personal finance one. So yeah, a video from me under 30 minutes? What? That's crazy. Should we just chat to hit the 30-minute mark? Okay, no, we won't. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.